Hello, my name is Wanda Sad, and this evening I will be interviewing my client who is a homeless mother of a 2-year-old son who was recently diagnosed as having an intellectual disability. Supporting a child with a disability and feeling shunned by family members goes hand in hand for this young mother. She's had difficulty in the past listening for suggestions of support and guidance from family members who just felt overwhelmed by her situation and has currently refused to have an ongoing relationship with her. Throughout our interview process, she begins to open up about her past, and she begins to understand how choices that she made could have potentially had an effect on her child having an intellectual disability and the relationship with her family members. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, it's good to see you again.
Great to see you too.
Good. I see you're by yourself this evening.
Yeah, he's with his aunt tonight.
Oh, okay. So that's great. That gives us a better opportunity to really talk about some things that may have been of a sensitive nature to discuss in front of your son.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about some of the things that you believe have led to your current situation.
Yeah.
Could you kind of give me some information about what you believe your current situation is?
Well, right now I am homeless. I don't have a secure place for me and my son. And I also don't really have like a lot of family support because my son, was just diagnosed with an intellectual disability. And a lot of my family members believe that it's my fault. So, I don't really have any family support.
Okay. So when you're saying you're homeless, where do you and your son stay?
Currently we live in a mother and child shelter.
Okay.
Located in downtown in the city.
Okay.
So we receive services there. Yeah.
What type of services are you currently receiving at the shelter?
I do some type of, like, some small counseling with them also. They provide childcare, if I really need it. And they make sure they provide like, food vouchers. They give us food vouchers and things like that, and a bed to sleep and stuff like that.
Okay. So, I just want to explain some of the differences, in the type of support that I'm going to provide versus what you have stated. So at the homeless shelter, you said you've been participating in some counseling there.
Yeah.
The support that I'm here to provide you with has been mandated through the child welfare service system. So you do understand that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know how you got involved in the child welfare system and why they recommended this type of counseling?
I have a small sense. I think it may be because my son had fetal alcohol syndrome, and maybe that's why they felt like I put my child in danger.
Okay.
So that might be it.
Okay. So you are aware that he has been diagnosed with having fetal alcohol syndrome?
Yes.
Okay. And can you just give me some background information about your experiences while you were pregnant?
Well, when I was pregnant, I was young, and I, just wanted to still keep up with my friends and have fun with them. So I did engage in like some drugs, and I did drink alcohol and things like that. So, that maybe have some type of sense on it. I was really going through like a deep phase when I was pregnant. I was like a little embarrassed because again, I was young and I was the only one out of my friends that was pregnant, and I didn't want life to pass me by and feel like because I was pregnant, I couldn't engage in certain life events.
Okay. Now, while you were pregnant, did you go to your prenatal appointments like you should have?
No.
Okay. All right. So what I heard you say is that while you were pregnant, you did participate in drinking alcohol. Was it just alcohol, or were there other substances that you participated in?
I mainly did alcohol, but I did engage into some other substances, especially like Like drugs.
Recreational drugs, marijuana.
Yeah.
Anything more severe than marijuana, like crack cocaine or okay. Heroin.
No.
So just basically marijuana and alcohol.
Yeah.
All right. So the last time we met, we talked about putting some different processes in place. And I want to start going to further that process. I want to thank you for your honesty with me in terms of you recognizing that because of the alcohol abuse while you were pregnant, that it could have had the effect that it does on your son. So what we're attempting to do from this point forward is to establish a plan. One of the things that you brought out was that you wanted your son to grow up and be a part of a whole family. Yes. Is that still one of the things that's primary to you?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So we're going to just start there. So family is what we're going to focus on.
Okay.
So in order for you to heal through with your family so that Corey can have the basis, the roots of who he is, what steps do you think you could take to try to begin that healing process?
I could possibly, give him definitely like words of encouragement or something. But in terms of like to let him know, like, mommy loves you. I'm always going to love you. Give him like some type of assurance that I'll always support him. Maybe read him some types of books about family. Give him just a little bit of brief history lessons, maybe something like that.
I think that's great. Would you be interested or would you be willing to sit down with now what family members are instrumental in your life prior to you getting pregnant?
Definitely my mother, my siblings, my sister and my brother, my grandparents, an aunt.
Okay, so those individuals that you just identified, do you think you would be interested in maybe doing some building with them in terms of the relationship, which will eventually include your son?
Yes, definitely, because those people that I mentioned in my family, they definitely influence my life, and I would want them to have the same type or even stronger influence on my son's life.
Okay. So again, this process is not something that occurs overnight. It's going to take a lot of work, particularly on your part. We may touch on some really sensitive areas, and I just want to make sure that you're prepared for that.
Yes.
So with anything that you and I will do together, we will establish some ground rules. So one of them being, I need you to trust me, and therefore I have to trust you. So if I ask you a question that you're not prepared to answer right now, I just need you to be honest and say that. I'm not prepared to answer that right now. And we'll table it. If I ask you to share something and you don't feel like you're ready to do that, I need you to say that too. However, you do have to recognize that if we're going to make some progress, you have to have some buy-in. You have to be prepared to accept your responsibility in order for us to develop a plan for both you and your son. You have to be responsible for creating and implementing that plan. Again, I'm going to refer us back to the miracle question. Everything that we talk about is developed by you. And it's my job to facilitate that process, to refer you to services, to make sure your son is in programs that are going to support him where he is and to hopefully move him through that process. and to find you some housing and some job support. I believe those were some things that you talked about as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what we can do at this point is just put these things in a hierarchy of what's important. So we're just going to identify 5 things that we're going to work on right now. So I did hear you say family, relationships. What else would there be?
Financial support.
Financial support.
Or financial independence. Or security.
Financial security. Let's go with that. Housing. I believe we said.
Childcare. Education.
So early intervention services for your son. And let's identify one more. So we said family, financial security, housing, early intervention services for your son. And what else, lastly, would you think would be important?
Maybe faith, like instill like some values or morals or something like that.
Love that. Love that. Okay. So I think we've really put a plan in place for this session. We usually try to meet every other week, and this is a lot of stuff that we need to work on. So next week what we'll do is we'll start to break down these 5 steps into smaller, obtainable steps that will eventually bring us to the ultimate outcome of these 5 areas. Is that good for you?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to take you out front. We'll try to get you a voucher for your housing, and then we'll take it from there.
All right.
Okay? All right, thanks.
Yeah.